Hi, I'm Sarah Hickling,
I'm Sarah Attwood.
and we are going to be doing lots of mini videos describing what we get up to, typical client situations, and an opportunity for you guys to get to know us better. So Sarah, what do you do?
Well, I'm a wellness coach. I run Thrive Health and Wellness. So I focus on all aspects of both physical and emotional health, but I particularly specialise in kinesiology, nutrition, and our emotional state.
Fantastic. And I am a careers and business coach. And I work under Your Time Coaching, so I set that up in 2016, and really now specialising particularly within careers and businesses, but ultimately being a coach for people. Sarah, do you want to tell us a bit more about what you get up to and how you got into it?
Sure. So I think, like a lot of us, it's probably quite a circuitous route into finding out what we do. I stumbled across kinesiology as a teenager when I was really poorly. I had a bout of ill health from glandular fever during my GCSEs. It developed into ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome. At one point I was super poorly and bedbound for about 6 months. My mum was having to wash me, cut up my food. It was really quite a difficult time. And we couldn't really find anything that helped. There was no real known cause. So I must admit to being hugely skeptical of anything alternative or complementary. I didn't understand it. I thought it was silliness. Sorry about that. But that was my point of view. But nothing could really help. So I went along under slight duress, tried a kinesiology session. And honestly, Sarah, I was completely astounded. It was as if she saw into me. She found out so many things. She said, oh, well, obviously you've got listed all these things that I had going on, some food intolerances, some gut issues, some fungal overgrowth, some stressful moments in my body, and there were so many things. And what I loved was that she said, I haven't got a magic pill, but we're going to slowly work through these and unravel them for you, and then we can start rebuilding, which just sounded like a really strong plan. Fantastic. So I really enjoyed that. And I also then discovered throughout this kind of period of health that I was struggling with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which nobody really likes to talk about because it's not particularly pleasant. So nobody likes to discuss it. But I then had this real interest in food and nutrition and trying to understand what did work for me, what triggered me, what was an issue. So actually, after years of having received all these treatments, with a short segue into running up to London to work in a totally different career, which I'm sure we'll cover later in another session, I realised that actually I really was just fascinated by the human body and by natural health, and I decided that I needed to change and to start studying it so that I could help other people.
Fantastic. What a journey you've been through, though, to get to this point. So how long have you been doing this role as kinesiology and your Thrive business?
So I've been a kinesiologist for about 7 or 8 years now, and I've been running Thrive. I initially started to just build it up. Initially I started to study it just for a bit of fun. And then I must admit, it's not a phrase I like to say often, but I found that I was actually quite good at it. And maybe I could then help other people. So I started treating friends and family and was getting some good results. And then something shifted and I thought, this is really what I want to do now. So I set up Thrive Health and Wellness in 2015. Right. It's just been building and building ever since then.
Yeah. So it sounds like the things that you've been doing have really supported the business you're on now. So you are now kind of almost flipping the circle of where people have helped you in the past. Now you're doing the same thing but helping other people based on your experiences and stuff. Because that's quite similar to me in a sense that I left the corporate world back in 2013, had really good experience, made amazing friends and things like that. But I needed to take a bit of a career gap or a stop. And I met a coach in 2013. I was recommended him. And he just turned everything around for me, and ultimately got me back to being me. And there was something about him and the way he worked with me, I was like quite interested in. I thought, okay, gave it a couple of years. And my business partner, Dawn, who was one of the founders of Your Time Coaching, she said, I'm gonna leave the corporate world. I really want to do something different. I've got a child now and I want to do, and I think we could do something together, but we never knew what. So we got Phil Bolton, my coach at the time, to come back in and basically develop. And we were like, we love helping people. And we realized when we looked back at our strengths and looked back at our experience, it was all about helping people. And I love it. And I didn't realize at the time when I was in the corporate world how much I love doing that, supporting people, whether it is career changes, whether it's being more confident in meetings, or whatever it might be. And that's how I've got to where I am. And it's interesting that a lot of it's down to life experience, and life experience that enabled me to actually turn my business world around, or my career around, more than anything. And of course, I didn't like kinesiology. I think I'm saying that right. I might even not. I struggle to say the word, as we both know. A lot of people can't say it, but a lot of people are like, "What's a coach?" You know. So, and for me, I was like, "Oh, it took me quite a while to be confident to say I'm a coach," and it ultimately helps people. So it's interesting that we've both got similar experiences in the sense of how it's supporting our business now. Would you say that, Sarah?
I absolutely would. And I love what you said, because I think there's a big part of both of us who have been heavily influenced by other people who have helped guide us or uncover new pathways to do what we do. But also in terms of the fact that you can change things. I mean, clearly you're we're both kind of living proof right now, but also that's a huge part of what you help people with. But I think we can all come from all sorts of different routes and different obstacles and different pathways to kind of find the truth about what we want, what's going on in our lives, who we want to be, how do we actually want to be living our lives. It's regaining that control, isn't it? And I think that both of us in our different ways work quite complementary with each other in a way, in terms of helping people understand that and getting that choice back.
And it's interesting because actually what we both have learned, because we've known each other a long time now, is actually it's not about just one person. It's about having kind of a network of people around you, or a network of businesses around you. It's not about being a one-man band. It's about having a pool of people that you pull on for different things. And that's what's really important. If you're changing careers, or if you're wanting to changing something with yourself, it might be a case of, well, I can recommend this, but I recommend that person to do that sort of part. I can recommend that person. So say for example, you're saying, it'd be worth getting a PT person to come in. I know somebody can help that. I can't help you. This is what I think you should do. But, it's interesting how we complement each other, but we're both different businesses. But ultimately our own goal is helping people at the end of the day lead a better life, ultimately, isn't it?
And I think a big part of it is finding what works for you. I certainly have some clients who come to me from like a nutrition perspective, and I end up sending them to the local gym. But at the same time, I also suggest that they go to a local beauticians and have a massage, because actually they also need to de-stress and they need to work in different ways. And it's just creating this kind of lovely holistic viewpoint, isn't it, about everything.
Definitely.
And being as a person in their entirety, you're not just your job title or your illness or whatever. You're not just a particular label. You're a human.
Exactly. And it's interesting because we've done a lot of learning, with our work and everything. And so what would you say to your younger self, Sarah, if you were able to now? Because it's an exercise I do in my workshops with people, is to actually get, okay, you've got a classroom of 16-year-olds or 18-year-olds just about to leave, go out to the big wide world, or go on to university. What would you say to them that actually would have been really useful if you had received that same information when you were back 16, 18?
I love that question, because gosh, it does take you back, doesn't it? I don't know about you, but I felt like I was on a conveyor belt at the time. And at 16, 17, 18, I was doing what I was expected to do. I was fulfilling a role. I was fulfilling particular labels that had been assigned. I was a scholarship girl. I was very academic. I'd expressed an interest in going on to study law, which was, terribly approved of by everybody I spoke to about it. So I thought, right, okay, I'll do that then, and life was geared up to kind of follow this pattern. So I think one of my biggest pieces of advice was take your time to figure out what you're actually interested in. It's brilliant to have options, and it's glorious to be involved and enjoy many different activities and many different ideas, but really think about where you spend your time. So for example, I'm a voracious reader. I just love reading. And I would find that alongside all of like the English literature type books, I would also be reading a lot of books that now I know that they would be called maybe triumph over adversity or personal development. But back then, my family used to take the mick at me and say, "Oh, you're reading one of those troublesome books again." It was just given this different title. It was like, "Oh yeah, somebody's had their leg chopped off, and now they've won an Olympic gold medal or something." And it was seen as a funny thing. But actually, I realised I've always had this interest in what can we do as humans, as individuals. What can we overcome? So I also realised, looking back at that younger time, I had started to take part in sixth form in something called the listening service. So this was
Okay.
a beautiful thing where I think it was year 10 and over. It was like a peer-to-peer, it couldn't say counselling, but a peer-to-peer support system. So you buddy up with somebody in a younger year group and just listen to them.
Yeah.
And obviously that is now a huge part of what I do and what I offer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a skill that I feel was recognised or encouraged back at those sort of times, which is completely fine.
Yeah.
But it's just that taking that deep look inside, isn't it? To think, what do I actually really enjoy doing in my extracurricular time?
Yeah.
And being confident and being bold enough to think, I just can cast off any labels that have been associated. I get to choose me.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think we've talked about that, haven't we? It's that confidence that we like to try and instill in people.
Oh, definitely. And and I remember my mum saying things to me like, you can do this and you've got the confidence and stuff. But actually, when I look back at it, I didn't feel like I did. And so I know for a fact that I missed out on things or would step back from opportunities because my confidence wasn't there. So what I would definitely say is it doesn't matter what happens, you can do it. And, and just have that kind of inner strength, that little bit of power, and not to worry. And I think I would just constantly say, don't worry about it, just go for it, because I think every opportunity, whether it's good or bad, even if it's bad, it's still a good opportunity, it's still an experience. Because some of the things that I found throughout why I done the things is actually it's all that experience that I've built up has been so useful now. I'll never regret my corporate time, never regret that experience and that hard work, because all of it's learning, and it's also supported the business I'm doing right now. So yeah, definitely build on your confidence, and really kind of go with your heart, for sure.
I love that.